Call the meeting to order. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and this city in which we live. Guide us this afternoon as we make our decisions. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Welcome, everyone. This is the February 13th, 2024 regular meeting of the Newnan City Council. You have the minutes from the regular meeting of January the 23rd, 2024 before you. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. We adopt the minutes as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Okay, we've got several appointments to boards and commissions today, most of which are going to go on our next agenda, which would be the first one, Mr. Thomason's on the Christmas Commission, next agenda. Mine, the next one on the Christmas Commission, and then Mr. Critco.
Yes, I'd like to reappoint Ms. Jane Clifford, please.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We reappoint Ms. Jane Clifford to serve on the Christmas Commission for another 3-year term. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. Mr. Shell?
Yes, I'd like to reappoint Linda Arnold to the
Second.
Christmas Committee.
All right. Motion is second. We reappoint Linda Arnold to the Christmas Commission. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next goes on our next agenda, the Cultural Arts, Ms. Jenkins. Mr. Corretco's Farmer Street Cemetery, next agenda. Mr. DeBoe's Farmer Street Cemetery, next agenda. I do have the appointment to the Parks Commission and would like to put in nomination Beth Barnett.
Second.
Motion is second. We reappoint Beth Barnett to the Parks Commission. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. And then the next three are on the next agenda. The Parks Commission, Mr. Guillaume, the Planning Commission, Mr. Greco, and Tree Commission, Mr. Guillaume. Thank you for those. I appreciate it. The next item on the agenda, City Manager, do you have anything today, sir? I don't have anything today. We'll go on to new business. The first item under new business is a public hearing. This is an application for alcohol beverage license. The York Restaurant Group, LLC, DBA Capital Tacos. The address is 1111 Highway 34 East. The reason for this application is a new business. I will open a public hearing at this time and ask if there's anyone here who would like to come forward to speak to the issue. For or against? Seeing no one come forward, I'm going to close the public hearing at this time and ask if everything's in order. It is, so I'll ask for a motion on the application.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. We approve the application as presented. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next is consideration of extension for distilled spirits package store license, 109 Bullsboro Drive. Not sure who has this today. If you'll come forward and identify yourself for the record, please.
How's it going? Danny Kelly.
Yes, sir.
Lichty Building Group.
Yep. I guess the question at
Oh,
hand.
for time frame, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous, man.
That's okay. It's not a problem.
We tried our best to make March 1st, but, the rain has really hindered the parking lot. My building's almost done, but again, we took like 3 inches of rain yesterday, so my only delay is because of the rain.
Okay, give us a timeline
Honestly,
for
with
completion.
if I can ask for June, but because I have unforeseens, I didn't expect to take a bunch of rain like we did. And if I lose 1 day of rain, that costs me 3 days of dry. So I'd ask for June if I can, but with a promise that I will be done with the building and parking lot before then.
Okay, questions from council?
So I have just a quick question. So to clarify, you're saying you'll be open for business, or they'll be open for business on what date?
We'll probably need a little time after that. I need the construction to be done. I'm thinking the construction will be done June 1st, if not much sooner. I can't guarantee rain. Again, I didn't expect Arctic blast, 250-year floods, 100-year flood. I don't know what's going to happen between now and the end of March. My boss here, Shane, we're trying to be at the end of March, but I don't know. Yesterday's rain really threw me for a loop yesterday. And, again, I've got puddles everywhere. My building is done, so I really want to start getting at least those inspected, getting a TCO. I don't know what the rules are, maybe even letting the clients get product in to prepare for an opening.
Well, I was gonna say, there's a difference between Lichty being finished and the building having a CO and the proprietor being open for business. The proprietor could have all kind of other issues that don't have anything to do with the construction company. And that's what we're really here today to try to determine is how much more time we need to give the construction company. The proprietor, if you just, let me finish, the proprietor has state law issues, all other kind of issues with vendors and inventory that don't have anything to do with Lichty Brothers.
No, I understand, but right now, I'm the one tying their hands. They
Sure.
can't really apply
Well-
for that, so that's on, I have to bear that burden. So until I get a CO and get that, they really can't start applying, is what my understanding is. So it is in my best interest to hurry up and then allow them to move forward. If I had to estimate, if I can be done by the end of the March, which is what I'm asking, is what our goal is, that would allow them April and May to do the city licensing, the state licensing for the alcohol. And we know that's a timely progress. So overall, if I could, if I'm representing both Lichty and my client, I would ask for like a June 15th opening. And then that would be, a lot of that's contingent on me completing the building. And we have had that discussion because they have let me know that they can't move forward until I get them that building. So I hate to say it, right now I'm carrying the burden for everything, but I'm doing everything I can within my means.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So you just said March, correct?
It's what I'm praying for.
So, all right.
Again, I don't,
Well, I get it, but then you go from March to June, so
well,
which is it, March or June?
again, I'm praying. I can wake up every morning and ask
Again,
God.
let's bring some clarity to what Lichty is responsible for and what the owner is responsible for. I really don't think, now the other council members may have a different opinion, but I don't really think you ought to be standing there talking about anything that the owner has a timeline on after your CO. You're off the job, you're done, maybe there's a punch list, you're finished.
Right.
So I think that's the date, Mr. Young, that I'm looking for from Lichty is the date that you think you will have a CO, not what the owner will do with his proprietors and inventory, any of that stuff. That's on the owner, and that's on us to monitor that once you get past a CO. So I think we've got two different dates.
Well, that would be the date that I'm looking for, but I'm also looking at some of the two others that were under construction that basically all the same time frame. I can't even remember when we all started with this, truthfully.
Well, they were given
It's
the
been a
initial
while.
thing at the same time.
After extent, but let me just finish. There's two others that went up, and one is about to open. There was another one on Lower Fayetteville Road. Same time frame, same weather. Is now open, has been open for quite some time. So you're saying that your pocket was uniquely different to the same weather patterns that was occurred in that period of time. That's what I'm hearing.
But you're comparing apples to grapes, sir.
I don't think so, but
My understanding, and this is what I've been told. My understanding is I didn't have a graded lot ready to go. Had an existing building which was an eyesore to the city that already had its own complications. I brought that up, and if you look at my time frame, and I'm based on general information. They took over a year. If you look at the time I had to start my project going forward from June 19th to today, that's 7 months. I'm looking at other construction projects that started 8 months before I did, and they still don't have completed parking lots. Like, again, we've done, I'll be honest, I pulled through with my crews, my team, and everybody came together to pull off, I hate to say it, but they pulled off a miracle.
Well, and if you don't mind me
Yes, sir.
interrupting, I do think we all need to remember the length of time this particular owner took
Exactly.
to get through the
It's not
process.
Lichty Brothers, y'all done everything you said you were gonna do.
I mean, I'm not laying this on Lichty.
No, I understand.
Because they took an extraordinarily long amount of time to get through their financing and their permitting and all of the things they did.
Right, understand.
So, again, I'm looking for that Lichty date for CO.
If I have to ask, I'm gonna ask for a CO on June 1st. Again, my goal, I'll tell you my goal, but what I'm gonna ask for. My goal is end of March, because the faster I get done, the better it is for my clients, and the further on I can move to another project. But if I had to ask for an extension, dealing with what I have faced over the last few months, again, if you look at, I'm gonna use August, which is a dry month. August had 12 days of rain. If I get 1 day of rain, that causes 2 days of delay. So if you take all of August, I lost 24 days total in being able to progress just in a parking lot. Now, we were able to do things with a building. So again, I'm looking at if I'd ask for a CO June 1st, that's what I'm asking for. Now, if I get done and allow the owners to start doing their processes, it just benefits not only me, benefits them, and it also benefits the council. And then they could be open.
Mayor, I just have a clarifying question. Is this extension for the CO, or is this extension for open to sales? What is this?
No.
You both got the same question. I'm looking, if I would say we needed to vote on something today, I would say it would be an extension for the CO, not for the extension of the owner to get in there, opening of business, just the certificate of occupancy.
All right, shouldn't the owner be up here instead of Lichty Brothers to start
Is
with?
the owner in the house?
Yeah, they're right here.
Okay.
So I guess my original question isn't necessarily, because that was gonna be one of my questions, which was the difference between the CO and what are we voting on here? But why is it on the agenda then? Is it because they haven't opened?
It denies March 1st.
But I'm saying, is it because they haven't opened or because they don't have a CO?
Your
Is that why
alcohol-
it's on the agenda?
The city's alcohol ordinance requires an establishment who receives a permit, or in this case, a right to a permit, to be open within 6 months, to be open
To be open.
within 6 months. So therefore, we have been considering and giving and granting extensions to not only this entity, but the other entities to be open within that time period. So while, yes, you may give a short-term extension, really the ordinance says it must be open within a certain time frame of an extension.
So then, in my mind, we should be considering opening.
Agreed.
And not CO, because then there's still, we're breaking up something that the ordinance doesn't break up.
But in the real world, they can't open without a CO.
Correct, but that's part of the
runs on me.
procedure.
That's the reason I'm pushing him for a date where he can have a CO, and I think June 1st is just out of the question. I can't vote for that.
Okay, how about, if I had to ask, if I go May 15th, again, I'm so close, but there's certain things that I can't guarantee, and that's what, like you see, my building is done. It's even further along than that. My parking lot is much further along than that. But I've ran into some hiccups. I actually have to have a meeting with planning and zoning because some of the upfront and the preparedness, we found that, again, it's an ongoing battle. There's certain ordinance that I gotta keep. Right now, I'm looking at losing 3 major trees that I don't wanna lose, that I know would be an eyesore to the city. So I've gotta kind of back up, not only with the rain, but I gotta back up and look at what's better for the interest overall.
Okay.
Okay,
Could I call the owner up with that, or do you have?
yeah, but I want to keep circling back. So it's June, now it's May, but you really said I'm praying for March. The only thing that I would be willing to do is give him an extension through the end of March, and he's back up here again to see, but he's got to have some motivation. If to just extend it out to June or May, kind of like, it's going to rain, there's going to have issues, and you're going to send out the same letter back to us and provide us with all these excuses, quite frankly, in my opinion. So if I'm going to hold you accountable to what you're saying, which you've brought up the month of March, the end of March, then I would have to say March would be it for me.
That's, for me, I'll be honest with you, council member, I'll be back up here.
Well, but
And-
you
No,
just said,
the
you just
owner-
said,
the
That's
owner.
my hope and a prayer.
you just said
The owner.
your
The
prayer
wettest
is that
month
you
of
be
the
open in
year is
March.
For contractors, the wettest month of the year is March.
Yeah, and
You know what?
again, look, I'll be honest with you.
Well, let's
My-
get until next March then.
My background, I'll be honest with you, I'm embarrassed being up here. As a combat veteran, 20 years ago, I served in Iraq. I've never failed one mission. Hold on, listen to me, please. I've never failed one mission. Right now, me being before you makes me feel like I failed a mission, but it's beyond things that I could control. Like even in Iraq, there were things I couldn't control. That's what I was, and now I'm asking for permission. I'm fighting tooth and nail. It's not that I'm,
We understand your position. If I could get the owner,
Yeah, it'll be fine. I was just gonna say, you're making great progress. I mean, the last thing the city of Newnan wants is that building to stop and nothing happens. So we're making progress. I agree that we wish it was already open. I wish for a lot of things, but you are making progress every day, and for that, I feel comfortable. It's gonna take time to finish the building, and then you're gonna have to go through all the permitting and all the processes. The goal here is to have that store open and running and making money and serving the citizens, okay? So
yes, sir.
I would throw out there 120 days, 150 days, and for the open. If we're extending the open, let's send it out there long enough for you to get all the weather stuff behind you, get all the permitting behind you, and we hope that we never have to see up here again that you're open and all that. So that's what I'm throwing out. That's what I'm thinking as a motion, but I'm not making a motion yet.
a question for the owner. If you had a CO, how much time do you think after you have a CO do you open? Based on what you know about what you've got to do on permitting and inventory and all of those things.
So I'm already in the talks of inventory, so I'm waiting on the CO, so we can take that, get the local license and apply for state licensing. And then state licensing can take a few weeks, they do their checks, they just need to see, how financing went and all that. Once they see all that, we'll get that. May take 4 to 5 weeks, just state takes their time, so Department of Revenue is gonna do all their checks and balances, and then once we get that state license, so we can start getting everything rolled into the building. We already have money set aside for inventory, so there's nothing wrong with that. We're ready for that. We just need the CO, and we're just having some hiccups right now.
Okay, and I appreciate your answer, and I should have asked you to state your name for the record before we started, if you'll do that.
Rocky Singh,
Thank you. Any other questions of the owner?
So how much time altogether? Because you gave us a whole
Right.
list of things, but we
So-
need time.
Can I have the 120 days that you offered, Mr. Councilman?
Right now, I'm asking the owner for his time period after your CO.
CEO, I'll probably need, how quickly would the city of Newnan be able to give me local after CO? Do you guys know how quickly? What's
the Newnan process is relatively easy at this point, because you've already made an application, you have all your information, we
Yes.
have your surveys, we have because this is a little different than opening up a retail establishment, we've been working. So our process will be relatively quick, there will be no coming back to council.
It's administrative.
So
It's
like,
administrative.
what is relatively quick? A week, 2 weeks, what?
Our time frame, they're gonna have a much greater issue with the time frame of the state as
Yeah.
compared to us. We won't even be in that time frame with them.
Do those things run concurrently?
There's a new portal that has just came
Yeah.
out in the alcohol licensing world that is helping from the time processing. I don't know enough about it yet to comment on how much it has reduced time. I know he was right, it could take 4 weeks or longer previously, but with the new portal process online that they're using, we're hoping to see that decrease. If I'm throwing out there, I think a good 30 days for the licensing provision is probably legitimate for state and local.
Okay. Anyone else? Either?
Can I make another?
Sure, absolutely.
How about, because I know you're gonna need, me and you have been in communication, you're gonna need so much, you need 6 weeks to 7 weeks. May I take 90 days for my completion? And then do another 45 days for there. And again, 90 days is what I'm requesting, but I will tell you a hope, so not to confuse dates. My hopes will be done sooner than the 90 days, which allow them to start their process. But I would request 90 days for me, and then we'll add 45. So that gives close to like 120 or so.
So if you finish early, you'd be ceding the remainder of your time to him to finish his
Yes.
100%, yes, sir.
So basically, the day he gets CO, we start hard work.
Okay, so you want 90, he needs another 45, that's more than 120. So
135.
you want to go, I'll make a motion that we extend this out 150 days,
When is that?
which would be from today, which would be
March 1st is the expiration date.
March 1st expiration day, so April, May, June, July, August, so in August.
When was this initial city license granted? I mean, how long has this been going on now? But when did we grant them the right to it? When they were here initially.
No, we don't. Release the license.
They're a couple months behind you. My staff is actually watching, sent us a message that said from the city standpoint, everything is done and completed with the exception of making the check out to the city for the city license, so there will be.
Right, okay. Well, that's pretty easy. Write a check.
Is it too much to ask within that, if there's granted 150, then is it too much to ask that within 60 days, he gives us some progress reports? Is that,
We can ask for 30-day ones.
I think we need to, right, I think if Mr. Thompson will
Happy to.
amend his motion for 30-day reports.
Happy to do that. With
Second.
30-day reports.
Okay, so I have a motion for a 150-day extension with 30-day reports, and that would come before the council at their appropriate time after the 30-day period, and a second. Any other questions or
Can I-
comments?
Can I ask, so for the 30-day reports, would I send it to Mr. Phillips and then would disperse to the council members?
Correct.
Okay, sounds great.
Or Mr. Phillips, you,
Staff.
what's your system?
I mean, there seems to be a little bit more attention on it now. We've been getting reports from them, but are you expecting the reports, or are you expecting them to show up and be presented a report here at council?
I expect just the written report.
Okay.
Anyone
Just
else?
for clarification.
I can send it to each one of you council members directly, however.
no?
Okay.
Send them in.
Okay. So I have a motion, a second. We had the question for clarification.
And this is opening. This is not CO.
And I
This
do,
is opening.
and I do want to apologize, again, I do feel, I represent Lichty, Lichty Building Group, who I'm very close to, Daniel Lichty, my boss Shane, and the owners, and I apologize for my shortcomings on the March 1st, so I do apologize.
No problem at all. We appreciate you being here. And I want to make sure that Ms. Jenkins' comment gets in the record. This is for
Opening.
opening,
Yes,
not
open.
CO,
Yes, sir.
It's for the
150-day
owner.
extension. Okay. Anything else? I'm going to call the question. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose like sign.
Me, no.
Motion carried, 6-1. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate you being here. The next item on the agenda today is a consideration of certain city-sponsored events to exercise ordinance amendment on Chapter 3, alcohol beverages. These are the events from Main Street for the year that require the alcohol exemption. So I would ask for a motion if there aren't any questions.
I do have a question.
All right.
So this just covers the Main Street events and not the city events, all of them, or is there, okay, so the city events outside of Main Street, are they already covered? I mean, like the cultural arts events and things? They don't have, okay, so those have to come back to us? Okay. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion is second, we approve the request. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carried. The next is consideration to award Energy Construction Solutions, Inc., a contract for housing rehabilitation under the Community Home Investment CHIP program. Mr. Moody, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Mayor and Council. So before you is a consideration to award the contract to Energy Construction Solutions for a total of $25,524 for the CHIP housing grant.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Motion is second, we approve the request as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Moody. The next is an item that takes no action from us today. This is for information only. This is a report from Jimmy Ellison regarding Restart Coweta. If you'll recall, this council requested this study to be put in the field, and here it is today. You're coming back to report on what you found.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. Appreciate the opportunity to be here today and to thank you for your support and your encouragement with Restart Coweta and specifically the homeless think tank that started this process. 9 months ago, I was having lunch with the mayor and Mr. Phillips and Chief Brown, and we were discussing the topic of homelessness in our city. Very heavy topic, very serious topic, a topic that impacts all of us, and specifically the downtown area. I mentioned during that lunch that I'd had over 15 years of experience working with homelessness in downtown Atlanta, and in that conversation I suggested that I bring together other concerned citizens in our community, other nonprofit leaders, business leaders in our community to put together a think tank to work on how can we in a healthy way make a dent in this issue, make a dent with the homelessness in our community. When the mayor and Cletus gave us permission to move forward with that, we consulted with a person named Jack Griffin. Jack he owns his own consultant company in Atlanta, and he has extensive knowledge in this area, and he became our consultant. So in July of 2023, working under the umbrella of the Coweta Foundation, we launched Restart Coweta, and we've got several of our members of that team who are with us today. And the vision that we came up with for Restart Coweta is simply this: ending homelessness in our community one family at a time. Ending homelessness in our community one family at a time. And as I shared, it falls under the foundation, and I've had the privilege of chairing that think tank for these past 6 months. You will receive, if not already, a copy of our business plan that we have put together and approved as Restart Coweta that I know that you'll be looking at in the days ahead. My purpose today is not to go through that at all, rather than just give you an overview of what this is and our work. When you read the business plan, you'll see that in a nutshell, the basic strategy that we think is the healthiest next step for us as a community is to assess those who are homeless, then partner with other nonprofits who are already working with the homeless. For example, Coweta Force, Coweta Samaritans, Bridging the Gap, local churches, and specifically concerned citizens. We've had many concerned citizens come to us to say, hey, how can we be part of the solution to making this impact here? And so in the packet, you're going to see a plan that Jack Griffin, our consultant, helped us put together. And he based the plan on a similar nonprofit serving the homelessness in Lakeland, Florida. And you'll see that outlined, what we've learned from that, from their approach to ending homelessness in their community. And we know that this approach has worked in Lakeland, Florida. We know that there are specific documentation that lists how they have found success in helping those who are homeless in their community. Now, Lakeland, of course, is larger than Newnan. Jack estimates, he says, it's about probably 10 years ahead of us where we are regarding commerce and regarding population. But it was a model that worked in that community, and that's the reason he coached us in that area. So Restart Coweta, working with the Nest, and the Nest is the warming shelter for our homeless friends and neighbors. And we've already began implementing some of the ideas some of the strategy that you'll find in this plan. And I want to read a list of first names that we have helped this year to find housing or some type of program that will meet these needs. These are individuals, these are citizens, these are those who are in Newnan who have found themselves in a homeless situation and now have housing. They have a roof. They're no longer on the streets. Gary, Jasmine, Jadero, Wayne, who was highlighted not long ago in the newspaper. Thank you, Laura. Brianna, Herman, Fred, James, and another James, two Jameses. Again, these are individuals this year who came to the warming shelter, who we assessed. We found out their needs, found out what they needed to get from A to B. We were able to contact other nonprofits, individuals, churches, to say, hey, can you help us get from this person housing? And these are all individuals who have now a roof over their head. They're off the streets in downtown Newnan. And so on behalf of Restart Coweta and on behalf of these individuals that have been helped this year, and behalf of all those who are still homeless, just want to thank you for your encouragement and thank you for your support as we tackle this big issue that all of us have to face. So thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr.
No,
Ellison.
I just read your report, and it's quite impressive in its nature and it's not just a piece of paper. It looks like there's actually action in there. And so I just thought it was very impressive what you've done, and hopefully it's going to do some good in our community because
Yes, sir.
it's a growing problem.
Yes, it is. It is.
Anyone else? We appreciate your hard work. It's a complex issue that is going to need to be addressed. And we
Yes, it
appreciate
is.
the beginning.
Well, we appreciate your support, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda today is consideration of a contract with Pyro Productions for the display of fireworks on July the 4th, 2024. Mr. Craver.
Mayor Brady, members of the council, excuse as we pivot around here. For a generation or more, the Rotary Club of Newnan has sponsored one of our community's great 4th of July events. Most of us know it as a fireworks display at Drake Stadium. Over the past few years, as a result of the March 21st, 2021 tornado, that event moved. It moved from our community, but we're happy to say it's come back. And it's come back and it's a little different. And some of the differences you'll see are kind of a scaled down food presence, but there'll still be arts and entertainment. But as the Rotary Club looks to bring this event back to our community, they've come to the city and asked for an exaggerated partnership. As you may recall, from year to year, at least as long as I've been around, the city of Newnan has participated through its annual budget to allocate about $15,000 to this event. The Rotary Club has come to us and asked us to consider fully funding the event. The full funding amount is $27,610. And so we're looking at the council's consideration to approve that gap from what's been budgeted, the $15,000, to the $27,610.
It's my understanding that the county was contacted and was willing to participate at some level.
Yeah, the county administrator did verbally commit to me their portion support of it as well.
Right.
So I believe it had been, I think it had been 10,000.
I think that's the number, correct. Any questions, council, regarding what we're doing here?
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consideration of a contract with Pyro Productions for July 4th, 2024. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Under visitors, we have one request today. This is a request to close the South Court Square on June the 7th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for Southern Lit Fest, local author showcase event. You've got this letter in your agenda. If there are any questions, happy to look for the right person. Otherwise, if there's a motion.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. And Mr. Brown, I know you wanted to speak to the issue.
Well, I
Go
do,
ahead.
because I just realized there's something that's on here. This should be on West Broad Street.
That's what I thought. Brown,
It's
between
not
Brown
South Court Square. My name's Mike Brown, by the way. Newnan Carnegie Library Foundation and Hometown Nobleman Association.
Okay, so what is the correct location?
West Broad Street to Brown Street.
That's what it says in here.
It just says on our agenda.
But the agenda says South
The
Court.
agenda says Southport Square.
I believe that it was, when I submitted the original paperwork, it
Gotcha.
did mention West Broad to
Right.
Brown.
Right, okay. So, let's go back and have another motion here that would include the area of West Broad Street to Brown Street for approval on this particular item.
Who made the motion? I seconded it. Didn't I?
Is there,
Did I make a motion? Who made the motion?
is there another motion to
So
approve
moved.
that?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. We approve the area of West Broad Street to Brown Street, correct?
Thank you,
Thank
Mayor.
you.
That's perfect. Council, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for that correction. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Is there a motion to rescind the motion to approve the South Court Square closure?
I make the motion to rescind the motion.
To rescind the motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. We do have a reason today to go into an executive session for legal. Mr. Gio. I'm sorry?
And real estate.
Real estate. Okay, we have two reasons, real estate and legal.
Real estate and legal. Yes, okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
there's
Wait just one second.
a Ms. Carson that signed in to speak to make a request to the council.
We're going into executive session. If she'd like to stay until after that's over, she can do that after that's finished. Okay? Mr. Jim?
Ready? Okay. I move that we now enter into closed session as allowed by OCGA 50-14-4 and pursuant to the advice of the city council for the purpose of discussing.
If you'll be silent on your way out, please, we would appreciate it. Anthony, please. Thank you. Mr. Jones?
For the purpose of discussing real estate and legal. And that we, in open session, adopt the resolution authorizing, directing the mayor or presiding officer to execute an affidavit in compliance with the OCGA 50-14-4. And that this body ratify the actions of the council taken in closed session and confirm that the subject matters of the closed session were within the exceptions permitted by the open meetings law.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. We're in executive session. Thank you.